Yo, B Marsh Boxing, back at it. Another boxing video. What's good, boxing heads and fight fans around the world? So, Lennox Lewis, last undisputed champion we've had at heavyweight in the heavyweight division. Lennox the Lion Lewis. Well, he G checks the man, Eddie Hearn, man. He puts him in his place. He carries him like a shopping bag and basically yanks up his skirt and calls his bluff, you know what I mean? So, former undisputed heavyweight champion, he's basically reacting to some recent comments from the man Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, who promotes Anthony Joshua, Matchroom Boxing. Anthony Joshua, excuse me, Lennox Lewis has been critical about how Eddie Hearn has been handling business, you know what I mean? And he believes uh, that Anthony Joshua is avoiding the big fights with guys like Tyson Fury and the WBC champion, Deontay Wilder. Keeps talking about that stupid IBO belt. Nobody cares about that. You see, that's how they try to play with the public's mind. Eddie Hearn and them and Anthony Joshua. Talking about, I have 4 belts. Nobody gives a fuck about the HBO, I'm sorry, that IBO belt, man. That's what we're not going to do, man. If you're going to keep talking about that IBO belt, I'm going to put you on Mickey Ward type level. Because Mickey Ward ain't never been a world champ, but he had an IBO belt. That's what we're going to start doing. You keep talking about that nut ass IBO belt, you know what I mean? So, like I said, the man Lennox Lewis feels that Anthony Joshua is avoiding the big fights. That's what he feels. That's what he says out his mouth. That's what a million hardcore boxing fans, at least in the USA, have been saying. You know what I mean? Um, the Anthony Joshua fans. I'm not even gonna go out there and say the British fans because I know some loud British fans, like my man Dan the Man in the chat. What's good, son? He's in the chat. Dan the Man says Lennox has been there himself. He knows a duck when he sees one. No question about it. Hop, what's good, Hop? How you feeling, man? He says, B Marsh, my man Hop. Thanks for coming through, fellas. You check it. So I'm not going to just generalize and say the British fans. I'm going to talk about the Eddie Hearn and AJ supporters who are not critical one bit and don't see anything wrong with anything Eddie Hearn and them are doing. You know what I'm saying? So Lennox Lewis has felt that, Anthony Joshua and them, they avoided the fight and they dropped the ball when it came to making a unification last year with Anthony Joshua, with Deontay Wilder, you know what I mean? A lot of boxing fans like myself, ever since they pulled that 24-hour bullshit with Povetkin, I'm not gonna lie, man. I just been side eyeing these Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? These guys are really not about that life. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. You know what I'm saying? They had the opportunity to fight even Deontay Wilder or even Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz. Why they didn't fight Luis Ortiz when Kubrat Pulev allegedly had an injury? You know what I'm saying? Was a man who was the mandatory for the IBF belt. Then they replaced him with Carlos Takam. The IBF, I'm pretty sure, would have conceded and said, okay, Carlos Takam's not the mandatory. What's his name is? Pulev is. Since you can't fight him, you can fight a voluntary. Why the man Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn and them didn't go the WBA route at the time and fight the man Luis Ortiz, who was a mandatory, a much longer mandatory than Kubra Pulev, you know what I'm saying? The man had been waiting for the WBA title shot since what's the guy's name? Vladimir Klitschko. Then it went through Tyson Fury's hands. He was waiting for him too. Then it went through AJ's hands, and he still never got his opportunity. You know what I mean? So you just gotta ask yourself these questions: why they didn't fight Luis Ortiz at the time? And don't tell me it's because AJ stepped up to the plate. I'm sorry, Wilder. Wilder stepped up to the plate when you took on Takam. He said, "Fuck it, man. I'll fight Luis Ortiz, the guy, every champion in all the last 3 champions with that WBA belt been avoided." You know what I mean? Um, you check it, and of course in September, you know what I'm saying, when they were talking about, oh, the WBA gave us 24 hours, and that was a week that Deontay Wilder and them sent in they contract, you know what I'm saying? Signed, sealed, and delivered. But they said, oh, we have 24 hours to make the fight with Povetkin, and that fight didn't get made in 24 hours. Then they talking about they got Wembley Stadium for last September and April 13th. Look, if that guy Anthony Joshua does not fight in that stadium on April 13th, I'm gonna yank up his skirt again and call his bluff. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna read you some quotes from what the man Lennox Lewis said. Okay, first and foremost, Lennox Lewis feels Joshua's not trying to travel outside the USA. You know what I'm saying? And he's staging every single fight in the UK, and he should step out of his comfort zone and travel, go outside the country and fight in the USA where they got the big market at. You know what I mean? Where you're gonna make buku bucks. You know what I mean? Shout out to my man Del Boy Boxing, man. I like Del Boy, man. Del Boy from the UK. And them fellas ain't impartial to nobody. He be going in on Eddie Hearn. And they whack ass cars that they want us to pay here in the USA. $10 a month. FOH, man. Fuck out of here, man. Who the fuck is Tevin Farmer fighting? 3 fights in a row, Tevin Farmer's fighting a guy whom I've never heard of, and he's supposed to be a world champion. You think that type of progression gonna get him ready for Tank Davis? Come on, man. Before, when he was fighting guys even like Billy Dibb and them, I would have given him a shot to fight to beat Javante Davis. When you fighting garbage opponents, come on, kid. That's not gonna help your trajectory or get you any better in boxing. But I'm gonna read you some quotes from the man Lennox Lewis. Quote, I've recently heard Eddie Hearn talking about how he doesn't like what I've said in regards to the Wilder negotiations in 2018. In my fighting years, I laced my gloves up in the ring for protection of myself and my opponents. Outside of the ring, there are no gloves. We don't put pillows on to soften the blow. Eddie needs to put his big boy pants on and understand that criticism and scrutiny are a part of the game. No boxer or promoter is above it, right or wrong. I've had my fair share also. It comes with the territory. In my career, I created my own path, chose my own destiny, fought for everything I've earned and achieved, I've set out for in the sport. In my era, I sought out the best to prove I was the best. So I don't take it lightly. When my hard-earned reputation is put in question. I have no problem speaking my mind, which seems to hurt people's feelings, but my views are not and cannot be swayed by a TV commentating contract, favor for a fellow Brit, jealousy of a new crop of talent, or the opinion of paid keyboard warriors. I manage my character and everything surrounding Lennox Lewis. Yep, third person. There's no puppet master here. I just call it like I see it, like I always have. For those of you who push this false narrative, I invite you to join me here at my League of Champions Youth Boxing Club, where, among other things, we teach integrity. With Wilder Fury 2 happening, Eddie is now scrambling for a viable opponent for Joshua. If Joshua handles his business in April, the winner of Fury Wilder 2 should take on Joshua for the undisputed title. If that doesn't happen, then we know it's just about milking the British fans for as much money as possible instead of bringing the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world back home to them for the second time in their lifetimes. Just that simple. End quote. Preach, Lennox Lewis. Now, I've been said it before, man, many a times. When Lennox Lewis was fighting, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a fan. Come on, dogs. This USA, Jack. I was rooting for Mike Tyson and Holyfield. I knew he'd demolish Tyson. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely was rooting for Tyson, you know what I mean? But I'm like I said before on this channel, man, when that man went to war with Vitaly Klitschko, I became an instant fan. Instantly. You know what I'm saying? Instantly. But then again, you also got to look at Lennox Lewis' career. I'm pretty sure Lennox Lewis probably fought the majority of his career in USA. I put it about a 52 to 48 ratio, 48% fighting over there in England. You know what I mean? The man fought over here because this is where the best heavyweights on the planet are. You know what I mean? At that time, you check it, he fought everybody. Tommy Morrison, Oliver McCall, Hasim Rahman, twice. Uh, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, David Tua. You know what I'm saying? He fought everybody, you know what I mean? Only guys he ain't fight was Chris Bird, you know what I mean? And Riddick Bowe. You check it. But then look at it. The three best heavyweights, the four best heavyweights of the '90s era was Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, and Lennox Lewis. And Lennox Lewis fought all of them. Bowe ducked him. You know what I'm saying? So he knows where he's coming from. You know what I mean? And I hate these AJ and Matchroom and Eddie Hearn fans. I really do. I hate these motherfuckers, man. These guys be hating on Lennox Lewis because he has a job with PBC. You know what I'm saying? Because the man is a commentator on PBC. When Tyson Fury and Wilder fought over there in the Staples Center December 1st, they had all kind of legends over there on the podium at the press conferences, from Lennox Lewis, Ernie Shavers, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. Um, who else was there? Michael Spinks. You know what I'm saying? You know what, these nut ass AJ, and I'm not gonna paraphrase and say British fans. I'm not gonna do that, man, because there's some real British fans out there who know Eddie Hearn is full of shit. These nut ass AJ and Eddie Hearn nut huggers were talking about, oh, Showtime had to pay all these guys to come over there to badmouth AJ. Ain't nobody badmouth AJ. The fucking media asked the five heavyweights on the podium, if you were offered $50 million, would you fight the man? All them fellas said, fucking right, man. I'd take the money. I'm fighting I'd fight him for half of that. You know what I'm saying? But the Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn nut huggers, they don't understand that. They think that these five guys were literally brought over there to hate on AJ. That fucking show had nothing to do with AJ, dogs. That show was all about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. And it was a success. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. If the joint did 300,000, that was a success. Because nobody even thought it would do that. There was some deluded fans out there who said it's going to do 1 million. But these are same deluded fans who said Adrian Broner. And they hear on YouTube. They said Adrian Broner's going to knock out Manny Pacquiao in 3 rounds. I suggest you don't even listen to them people, you know what I mean? Don't even pay them guys attention, because they obviously don't know what they talking about, you know what I mean? But why five legends gotta come to the USA to badmouth AJ? Who's AJ, man? Who the fuck is that guy? These five legends were over here in the USA at that Staples press conferences to show support for the first major heavyweight fight we've had in the United States probably since Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand these people, man. But it is what it is. Let me see. Oh, shit. Y'all in the chat hard body, man. Okay, let me see what y'all talking about. Hop. Hop says, question about when did the best stop fighting the best in general? I like the heavyweights in the 70s and the four kings of the 80s. Um, the best stopped really fighting the best when guys like Bob Arum was doing mad in-house fights in the 2000s, you know what I'm saying? Keeping guys like Manny Pacquiao away from Floyd Mayweather, and making Manny Pacquiao fight guys like Marquez and Tim Bradley a total altogether 7 times. Fought 2 guys a total of 7 times. Great fights, but boxing fans, we want to see. We're curious. We want to know the unknown. We want to see fresh new fights, and that's when guys like Bob Arum, that's the type of shit he was doing. You know what I mean? Um, and occasionally we've had some guys, the best fight the best, but really and truly, it's almost an anomaly in boxing. You know what I mean? We still never got to see Adonis Stevenson and Kovalev, and they both got knocked out in the same year. You know what I mean? That fight should have been happened, and I put the blame on fellas like Kovalev. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. I always been said it. If it's a whole pie, you know what I'm saying? 2/3 of the blame go to Kovalev for that bullshit. You know what I mean? I'll give it 66%, maybe even more on the Kovalev part. You said it, Hop, and this, the four kings, they all fought each other. You know what I mean? Hagler fought Ray Leonard, Duran, and Tommy Hearns, and all four, they all did a super round robin. You know what I mean? They all fought each other. You know what I'm saying? Um, even guys like Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley fought everybody. He avoided Floyd for like 10 years. Finally fought him when he was probably like 38. You know what I'm saying? But Shane Mosley fought everybody. You know what I mean? I believe Shane Mosley and De La Hoya did duck Kostya Tszyu. You know what I'm saying? That's why Shea Mosley jumped from 140, 135 to go to 147. You know what I mean? He knew about Kostya Tszyu there at 140 doing big things. You know what I mean? The same Kostya Tszyu who beat Vernon Forrest in the amateurs. The same Vernon Forrest who beat Shane Mosley twice in the amateurs and twice in the pros. That's why Shane Mosley got the fuck up out of there. You know what I mean? But the best fought the best, but we can just hope that we see this AJ and Wilder thing, or AJ and Fury, whoever wins a rematch out of Wilder and Fury. You know what I mean? But Lennox Lewis is absolutely correct. Eddie and them are scrambling looking for opponents. You know what I mean? All right. So when did the best stop fighting the best? When guys like Bob Arum was prologuing Juanma Lopez and Gamboa. You know what I mean? Shit like that. That stuff is bad for the sport because we still never got to see that fight. But guess what? We about to see them both fight in 2019. Both of them washed up though. Okay, Hop says, who do you blame most for Lewis Bowe never happening? Would have loved to see that. I more blame Rock Newman and Riddick Bowe. Obviously, the man threw the joint, the belt in the trash. You know what I'm saying? They did have negotiations, but they never got close to agreeing on negotiations. They negotiated for a while. I got the articles right here on my phone. You know what I mean? So I definitely blame Riddick Bowe for that one. Boxing, blood boxing. Yeah, yeah, my bad. I got a bad connection for a sec. One of them ones, where you at, bro? I was about to read your chat. He says, yeah, he's in the chat. Where we at? Where we at? Yeah, he says, what's good, B. Marsh? Wagwan, brethren. All is good, man. Hop says to Retro Boxing, he says, what up to both of him. And Wanna Demon says, good morning. Retro Blood, he greets him as well. Then the man says, I mostly blame Bo for the Lewis versus Bo not happening. If Bo wanted to fight, it would have happened. Yeah, that guy Rock Newman, he was trying to keep that man Riddick Bowe away from big punches, you know what I'm saying? And after they seen what he did to Razor Ruddock, he was like, no, sir, that's what we're not going to do, because that was actually a tournament right there. You know what I'm saying? Um, that was a little tournament, man. Razor Ruddock, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. The winners meet each other. All right, one of them was saluting everybody in the joint. All right. Okay, where we at? Retro Boxing says that's blood. And Lennox will still whoop their ass. Yeah, he'll whoop their ass today. You know what I'm saying? He will. Hop. Hop says, good to see y'all on a channel that really knows and talks boxing, period. No question, man. Thanks a lot, Hop. I don't got to come on YouTube and disrespect all these fighters who are not doing what they supposed to. I just ain't gonna talk about them. Just like my man Blood, man. I be watching Blood, man. Blood be talking about, man. I'm not talking about these celebrity boxers. I feel you, man. That's why I like more talking old school. That shit, that's just what gets me more hype. You know what I mean? I like more talking old school shit than these new dudes who ain't doing what they supposed to do. Hop says, Lewis versus Klitschko, quality, brutal clash. Yeah, man, that's my favorite Lennox Lewis fight. I like that. I also like the fight with the Shannon Briggs for the lineal title. I like there was a Croatian dude, man. There was a Croatian dude with the mohawk. I forgot his name. It starts with an M. Tough name to pronounce. That dude was giving Lennox Lewis hell. He was, he was on his way to probably beating him, but Lennox Lewis pulled it out. You know what I mean? I also like Lennox Lewis and Ray Mercer. You know what I mean? Close fight. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. Retro blood, man. You read my mind. He says Mercer exactly. Hop says Ray Mercer in the combo for best chin ever. I think it was a solid rock. You guys read my mind. I was just talking about one of my favorite Lennox Lewis fights. Is Lewis versus Ray Mercer. I look in the chat. Y'all fellas talking about Ray Mercer. Real boxing heads thinks. Real boxing heads think alike. No question. DFW boxing is back. Real talk. This 80A. Hop says thumbs up. Yeah, man, hit that thumbs up. Blood says Bo regrets it too. No question, he regrets it till this day. Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, man. So Lennox Lewis, I like them fellas ain't he ain't holding his tongue back for nobody. You know what I mean? And a lot of AJ fans, at least here on, because I don't know no AJ fans in real life. This USA, Jack. Fans on the streets. Boxing, matter of fact, yesterday I was hooping in the gym. We was, what I mean, and Anthony Josh, people in the gym, man, $1 million. I was shocked, guys, and I don't consider these guys hardcores, or I consider them casuals. You know what I mean? Straight up, I do, I do. You know what I'm saying? But hey, at least on the ground, like I said, there ain't no Anthony Joshua fans over here on the ground. You know what I mean? But on the internet, Anthony Joshua fans, they really and they could be from England too, which is crazy. They really don't like Lennox Lewis. It's crazy, man. Lennox Lewis to me is a top five all-time greatest heavyweight of all time. But the way they be talking about him, it's like he ain't do nothing for him. You know what I'm saying? Some of them weren't even around when Lennox Lewis was boxing. I could understand them older heads who might say, oh, okay, look, Lennox Lewis represented Canada. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't, he wasn't loved in the UK like man like Frank Bruno. You know what I'm saying? I could understand the OGs, the older heads talking that, but these new young bucks hating on the man Lennox Lewis, you motherfuckers weren't even around to see what Lennox Lewis was doing throughout the 90s, you know what I mean? But they don't like the guy. Why? Because he's critical about Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. Like he says, man, put your big boy pants on, you know what I mean? Hobbs says, did Tyson avoid any fights he should have taken? He damn sure avoided Lennox Lewis in 96, I tell you that. He avoided him in 96. That's why after Mike Tyson beat Frank Bruno, I think that fight with Bruce Seldon when Tupac got shot that night, that was a unification WBA because Bruce Seldon had beat Tony Tucker for the vacant WBA heavyweight title, and that was a unification WBC WBA. Tyson and Seldon. Tyson beats that dude up with the phantom punches. That shit look rigged. Now Mike Tyson's unified WBC WBA. He's supposed to fight his mandatory WBC mandatory Lennox Lewis. That man Mike Tyson ain't want to fight him, man. He vacated the belt. Lennox Lewis took these motherfuckers to court and he won a $4 million settlement. You know what I mean? Either what? Yeah, I think Don King paid him $4 million. You check it because uh, they were trying to give him, I think, like $12 million or something, 12 to 13, and Lennox Lewis wasn't having that. You know what I mean? Felt like he was being lowballed. So this type of stuff was going on in the 90s, Hop. And Mike Tyson vacated the belt. The man Lennox Lewis got $4 million in his pocket for doing nothing. And he eventually fought Oliver McCall for the vacant WBC heavyweight title. And Oliver McCall was a train wreck. He started crying and turning his back. It was just a weird fight, just a very weird fight. But that's how Lennox Lewis got his world title back. Hop says, hope your cold or allergies get better, B Marsh. I'm actually not sick. I'm not sick. I haven't gotten sick since 2017. And I got sick. I'm gonna tell you when I got sick. it was either 2017 or 2016. It was when Manny Pacquiao, that weekend Manny Pacquiao fought Jesse Vargas. I believe it was 2017 when he fought Jesse Vargas that November. Came down with a crucial cold, and I got a flu. I got a stupid flu that was, man. I had never been that sick in my life, dogs. But I'm alright now. I'm good now. I ain't get sick, man. Knock on wood. All right. Retro Blood and Boxing Blood documentary says Lewis is an ATG, no question about it, man. You know, and like I said, I wasn't a fan growing up as a youngin, as a teen in the '90s, but that Vitaly Klitschko fight, that fight right there, made me a super fan, and I've been a fan of Lennox Lewis ever since. You know what I mean? Especially after, in hindsight, when you look, man, he really beat all our American legends, man. He was the best of the '90s, and to me, the '90s the second best era of heavyweight boxing after the '70s. You know what I mean? So if that man accomplished that, you gotta give him his props. Hop says, for me, Lennox Lewis is a top 10. Yeah, he could be top 10. He could be number 6. I got him as number 4 or 5. I think I did a video, matter of fact, top 5 dead or alive. A matter of fact, I'm about to continue that series. What's today? Thursday? No, Friday. I'm about to do one today. Top 5 dead or alive. I did the heavyweights, and I think my top 5 was Muhammad Ali 1, Jack Johnson 2, Joe Louis 3, Lennox Lewis 4, and Larry Holmes 5. That's my top 5 dead or alive heavyweights. One of them ones says, remember when Lewis said, no guy test this. Yeah, no guy test. I remember that. That was his phrase right there, man. No guy test. Uh, Retro Boxing says, yep. Retro Boxing says Tyson had a better chance in the early '90s if he trained hard. Yeah, he had a better chance, you know. Um, you know, you know what I'm saying? Probably around the time when he fought Buster Douglas to the time he got incarcerated would have been the best time to face Lennox Lewis, you know what I mean? You know, Lennox Lewis been to 2 Olympics, '84 and '88. Mike Tyson was a pro in '85, so he'd already been doing this, you know what I mean? While the man Lennox Lewis was still trying to polish his craft. One of them ones says, hey, B. Marsh, I recently did a small bio and reviewed a fighter called Robinson Concession. Have you heard of him? And how do you feel about him? Yeah, I know that guy. I watched him in the 2016 Olympics from Brazil, and he won the gold medal in Brazil, in his home country. Now, I've seen him a few times as a pro, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with the guy, man. You know what I'm saying? I think the guy, I don't understand how the fuck this guy won a gold medal. You know, his punches be a little too wide, and sometimes he be off balance, you know what I mean? You know, compared to Shakur Stevenson, who came out with a silver medal, and even Ricky Conlon, or is it Ricky Conlon? That Conlon kid who got robbed in the Olympics from Ireland. You know what I mean? He's gonna be headlining a show at MSG on St. Patrick's Day. These guys have a better trajectory as far as they pro careers than do Robinson Conceição. You know what I mean? Conceição, I think, I don't know, man. I just have a feeling he gonna be like another. What's that Puerto Rican kid? Felix Verdejo. You know what I mean? I hope not. You know, Brazil is not known for fighters. They known for soccer players. You know what I mean? You know, in boxing history, you know, you got the great Etta Joe Fair, great bantamweight, top 3 bantamweights of all time. After that, who else do you have? You got Popo Freitas, Alcelino Freitas, and that about it. You know what I mean? They don't got a strong boxing history. Um, Robinson Conceição, I don't think he's going to be the next great boxing star out of Brazil to become even a guy on Popo Freitas level. If he does, I'll be shocked. But I've seen him fight, and I'm not sold on the guy. Retro Blood Boxing documentary says, Dan, the last fight you came a fan. Yeah, man, I ain't like that guy, Blood. I ain't like Lennox Lewis, man. I used to be like, where the fuck this guy from? He from Canada? Where you from? From Jamaica? You from England? Where you from? When he got knocked out by Hasim Rockman, man, I still remember to this day, I was happy than a motherfucker, man. I was excited. I was super excited. I went to school the next day. I told fellas, man, that Rockman gonna knock him out. I just had a feeling, man. And sure enough, he did. But you see what Lennox Lewis did in the rematch, you know what I mean? You see what he did in the rematch, man. He made that man Trevor Burbick do the. I'm sorry, he made Hasim Rockman do the Trevor Burbick. You know what I'm saying? I dropped, tried to get up, had no legs under him, kept dropping all over the ring. But that's when I became a fan, and unfortunately, it was on his last fight. You know what I mean? Blood says I didn't like him in the '90s. Neither did I. His peekaboo style is not built for longevity. One of them ones says, I agree. I picked up on this too. You talking about Robinson Conceição? Yeah, man. Uh, One of them ones says, for me, top heavyweight, Sam Langford who moved up, Joe Lewis, Ali, and Jack Johnson. Yeah, you could put Sam Langford in there, man. Sam Langford's a guy who moved up from lightweight, was beating up light heavyweights, anything and everything in between. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate, he never got to fight for a world title, and to me, he's the greatest fighter ever in boxing to never capture a world title. Hop says, my wife was born in Argentina, long, proud boxing tradition. Now, that's a country, the long, proud boxing tradition, a country that borders Brazil. But they boxing tradition is man, going back to Carlos Muzan, Hugo Coro, um, one of my favorite fighters ever, Nicolino Locci at 140, master defensive technician. You know what I'm saying? Then you had the guys in the 2000s from Matisse to Maidana. You know what I'm saying? That they even had guys. The guy who fought John David Jackson, Jorge Castro, great fight. I think 1994 fight of the year. That fight was war, man. The man Castro's getting his ass whooped by John David Jackson, and then he gets off the canvas and he knocks him out. You know what I mean? Yeah, no question. Argentina got a long history of boxing, man. I'm sure I'm probably forgetting somebody. You know what I mean? But Argentines, they definitely built for the boxing. They do that shit well. Definitely better than Brazil. Out of South America, I probably rate them the best country in South America for boxing, in boxing history. Um, One of them, one media says, funny enough, I wasn't a fan of Lewis in the '90s either. Yeah, me neither, man. Hop says to one of them, one medias and B Marsh, not much love for Jack Dempsey. Nah. Jack Dempsey don't make it in the top five. No, he don't. Jack Dempsey was the type of guy who would fight once every 2 years when he became a heavyweight champion. I mean, he didn't even fight black fighters like Harry Wills. He fought black fighters on his way up. When he became a champion, he ain't fighting no black fighters. No, so we're not putting Jack Dempsey in the top 10. That's what we're not going to do. You know what I mean? Gene Tunney whooped his ass twice. One was a long count, but Gene Tunney, I rate him. I put Gene Tunney, even though Gene Tunney had few fights at heavyweight, probably like two, maybe three, but I rate Gene Tunney higher than Jack Dempsey. For one, he beat him twice. Retro boxing and documentaries. Blood says, LM laughing my ass off. Me too. I enjoyed the McCall fight too. The first one. Yeah. Yeah, man. That was a fight that made me skeptical for life about Lennox Lewis. You see, I'm not going to lie. When you've seen a fighter get knocked down, put on the canvas, I don't know about you guys, but to me, when I watched the guy fighting, to me, there's always a possibility that could happen again. If it could happen once, it could happen again. You know what I'm saying? I watch Manny Pacquiao. I've seen probably Manny Pacquiao's whole career, to be honest. But I always think and I see a slight vulnerability when I'm watching that he could get knocked out. He could be put on the canvas. I've seen it before. You know what I'm saying? So those type of vulnerabilities in a fighter, they'll always come back. That's why I knew the man. What's the guy? The guy from Venezuela. What's the guy's name? Lightweight guy moved up to 140. Jorge Linares. Man, I knew that was gonna happen. I was just mad I ain't put no money on it. I was lazy. I ain't go out and put my money on and make the bet, man. I would have put 100 on it. You know what I'm saying? I knew that guy Pablo Cesar Cano has a possibility of knocking him out. You know what I'm saying? I've seen If you looked at Jorge Linares, any fights he's lost or knocked out, it was to guys he should have never lost to or been knocked out by. You know what I'm saying? He fights down to his opposition in competition, and that's what happens. When he fought against Lomachenko, he raised his levels up, you know what I mean? And he was fighting at a high level. Could he fight that type of high level for 12 rounds? Apparently not, but he did do a damn good job for 11 or 10 rounds, however long it lasted, because he was up on my scorecard. But that's what happens to the guy, Jorge Linares, and that was how I always looked at the man Lennox Lewis. He gonna get knocked out any fight now, he's gonna get knocked out. One of them one says, wasn't a fan of Eubank or Bruno either. As a fan, I remember we as black people felt they weren't representing us black back then. Um, you see, I didn't know too much about how they stand over there as far as in Black Britain, Eubank and Bruno. You know what I mean? But I do know that Bruno was the very first British boxer I ever known in my life, and that was courtesy of him fighting Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? That was the first boxer I ever knew in my life. Probably Eubank and Nigel Benn were the guys I knew after. You know what I mean? But definitely, Frank Bruno was the first British boxer I ever known. Hop says, Bonavita, that's Oscar Bonavita, Sergio Martinez. How could I forget? Maravilla, no doubt. Maravilla, out of the last, since the 2000 till 2019, that was my favorite Argentine. Sergio Maravilla Martinez. I even picked him to beat Cotto. I was wrong like a motherfucker on that one, but that was just my heart, man. I should have known better. The man had no knees. What's good, P Money? P Money in the chat. Long time Blazer fan, man. What's goody with you, P Money? One of them one says to Hop, Jack Dempsey? Nah, not for me. Yeah, man. I don't rate Jack Dempsey up there like that. You know what I'm saying? I put Foreman and Frazier and these guys before him, you know what I mean? One of them one says salute to P Money. Hop says that P Money always good. He's saying what up. One of them one says media cool. He says what up. Everybody saying peace to P Money. Um, yeah, man, you check it. So, that's what it is, man. You know what I mean? Lennox Lewis, man, he has the right to say this guy ain't trying to fight, trying to make the big fights. He's obviously not even trying to give the man Dillian White a fair shake. You know what I mean? Dillian White is a pay-per-view star over there. There's no way Dillian White should be offered the same kind of money that he made to face Chisora. No. There's no way that should happen, you know what I mean? That's why the guy, was over here in the United States, Dillian White, man, trying to explore his options, you know what I mean? He might want to get a fight with Deontay Wilder. And if he gets with PBC, it'll be more. That fight is more tangible. You know what I mean? He could get closer to that fight because guys like Eddie Hearn and AJ, man, they playing hardball at the negotiation table. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there because my man Lennox Lewis, he flamed up Eddie Hearn and AJ, and I could dig it. You know what I'm saying? We just want to see the fight. You know what I mean? Anthony Josh, AJ, he's full of shit. The man walked up on the ring on Dillian White, you know what I mean? Man was looking all nervous and shit. Because Dillian White told him, man, stop faking, man. Let's make it happen. What the man AJ tell him? If it ain't Wilder, it's going to be you. So if you ain't going to fight Wilder or Dillian White, come on, man. What? This the first time we going to call AJ's bluff? Not me. Them fellas been talking stuff and not really following up. When he beat Parker, what'd he say? He told the crowd, oh, who do y'all want to see me fight? They said Wilder. He said, I'm going to do a poll. And guess what? On the poll happened. Wilder was a unanimous decision by far. The world wants to see him fight Wilder. I got my peoples out in Dubai, my homegirl, man. She be out there in Dubai. She's not a hardcore boxing fan, no. But she knows about AJ and Wilder, and she wants to see that fight. Her and all her friends over there in Dubai, they get up for fight parties. You know what I'm saying? And the fight's not happening. And what can we say about it, man? All I could say is, hey, Wilder is doing what he's supposed to do, doing a rematch. You know what I mean? He has to. Wilder let me down personally in that fight. I don't know about y'all. He let me down. He let me down, man. That man fought like he had no technique, you know what I mean? Man was swinging for the fences, missing. Like, I didn't like that fight. Round 12, he drops him. I was like, holy shit, Deontay Wilder's a bad man. Man, a bad man. This guy, Tyson Fury, gets up. Then he commences to rock and Wilder. I didn't like that shit, man. I was disappointed. I'm going to keep it tall with y'all, man. So Wilder got to right them wrongs. He got to redeem himself, and the only way he can do that is going into a rematch. You know what I'm saying? There's no way he could even be thinking about fighting Anthony Joshua unless he wants to go over there and sell his belt. There's no way he can fight Anthony Joshua right now without finishing his business with Fury. And if Fury beats him in the second fight, so be it. I'm not going to cry a river for nobody. And I'm a Wilder fan, Bomb Squad. I was rooting for Wilder. I'm going to root for him in the rematch. But I got enough respect for Tyson Fury. Not because he fought Wilder. I had enough respect for him when he beat Klitschko. A lot of people over here, especially the Anthony Joshua fans, they try to downplay that victory like that man ain't opened the floodgates for the heavyweight division. Y'all motherfuckers in the heavyweight division, even including Wilder, you motherfuckers owe that man Tyson Fury some kind of compensation, some kind of percentage for opening up the floodgates and opening up the heavyweight division so fellas could prosper and getting rid of that old Klitschko and his brother, man. You know, that era of boxing was bad for me, man. Heavyweight boxing. I ain't like that shit with Klitschko, you know. But the AJ fans, they swear Klitschko is a ATG, man. The way they talk about Klitschko for 10 years, man, nobody was talking about Klitschko the way the AJ fans talk about Klitschko ever since they fight, you know what I mean? You check it, and AJ fans, they don't give the man Tyson Fury no credit. You know what I'm saying? Look, the Anthony Joshua fight was better from a boxing perspective for fans. It was better for the eyes. It was more appeasing to the eyes than Klitschko and Fury. But at the end of the day, Klitschko did it first, and he did it in easier fashion. He ain't had to get off the canvas. You know what I'm saying? Getting dropped like a crash test dummy. He ain't had to do that. He just beat that man convincingly, and he was about to do that to Wilder. If it wasn't for no knockdowns, man, if Wilder only got one knockdown in that fight, I'd have had that fight for Fury, dogs, because I had it a draw. You know what I mean? 7 rounds to 5 for Fury. The man beat him 7 rounds to 5. You check it, that man Wilder, man, he got to go sharpen up his skills, man, because hey, if he don't, USA ain't gonna have another world champion in boxing for another 15 years. I'm trying to tell you, man, it's gonna be a bad drought, and Wilder's our only hope. And I seen that shit twice, two fights in a row. Almost seen the heavyweight title leave USA. Round 7 versus Luis Ortiz. And Wilder, man, basically leaving that fight in the judge's hands. You know what I mean? You check it. So, Wilder, yeah, man. That's what I'm saying, you know, fellas like Wilder, he needs to go ahead and clean up his mess from the first fight before he thinks of anything else. If Eddie Hearn and AJ can't understand that, then hey man, you gotta give him the silent treatment, man, just the way Wilder been doing. Fuck them fellas. You gotta handle your business. You know what I'm saying? You gotta handle your business first and foremost before you think of an AJ fight. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to this, you know what I mean? Just like at the job, you don't go from sweeping the floor to become the supervisor, you know what I mean? At the supermarket. That's not what you do. You know what I'm saying? You go clean up, mop aisle 6, and then you're going to probably move the cashier or move the produce, move the cashier. You go move from outside, from bringing all the carts back in. And then maybe someday in 15, 20 years, you become the supervisor or manager of that supermarket. That's how it goes. You know what I mean? Levels to this. All right, where'd I leave off in the chat? Retro Blood Boxing and Documentary says Lewis would have fought Wilder in Alabama. Yeah, he would have. No question. One of them one says, I don't care to see AJ recycle a fight with White, and I definitely do not want to see him fight Klitschko. I'm sick of that division, in all honesty. Yeah, I just want to see. The division is good, man. There's a lot of great fights to be made there, man. Just like in the 70s, dogs. All them fights, man. Go look at a fight, Sonny Liston's last fight of his career versus Leotis Martin. Go watch that fight, you know what I mean? A fight Sonny Liston's controlling the whole time. Even drops Leotis Martin in round 4. And go see what Leotis Martin did to him in round 9. You ain't never seen that man, Sonny Liston, laid the fuck out like that. You know what I mean? And that's another again, not even for a world title fight. Just like today, we got a lot of good fights, man. Why Kubra Pulev and Povetkin never fought each other all these years? You know what I mean? I'd like to see that fight. It's a lot of matches to be made in the heavyweight division. Even Povetkin, just a whole all kind of matches to be made out there. Hop says, honest question. We agree on so much. Benny, in your opinion, should race be a reason to root for a fighter? I get the feeling you and Chad think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. For me, it just isn't. For me, it isn't. No, it isn't. Race doesn't have anything to do with me rooting for a fighter. It's how if I like the fighter. You know what I'm saying? Do I like the fighter? But I can see, look, man, if you're from Venezuela, man, and they fighting a Colombian, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, Jorge Linares versus the Mariaga guy that Walters and Lomachenko fought, and Oscar Valdez. People from Venezuela gonna root for their fighter, and the guy from Colombia, they're gonna root for their fighter. So as far as national, it's like soccer, you know what I mean, or like the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? You got fellas doing the 100-yard dash. You got somebody from your country. You're going to root for them. The Mexicans, they always root for their Mexican fighter. You know what I mean? And ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? If brothers gonna root for they black fighter, so be it. You know what I mean? You check it. Brothers have gone through a lot of racism ever since boxing has started till today. They don't get a fair shake. So I think it's only right, you should root for who you want to, you know what I mean? And nobody should judge you for that, you know what I'm saying? You see, there be some nut ass dudes out there like that dude Fig Newton, you know what I mean? His what he does, he roots for every white fighter, and then he gets mad at black channels for not gassing up the white fighters he gasses up. Well, that's his lane. Stick to your own lane, you know what I mean? There's actually fewer white boxers in boxing than minorities. That's a fact, you know what I mean? This ain't the 50s, 40s. They ain't no Rocky Gracianos and Tony Zales and middleweight. You know what I'm saying? Where the Italians can come out and Jake LaMotta root for them when they fighting guys like Ray Robinson, you know what I mean? You check it, but at the end of the day, should root and support who you want, you know what I'm saying? You know, if they got a fighter from Africa, man, I'm gonna support and root for them the whole way. When Ndongo fought Bud Crawford, I knew Bud Crawford would beat him. You know what I'm saying? But I was going for Ndongo, you know what I'm saying? Just because Ndongo is a man from Africa, just like me. You know what I'm saying? We ain't from the same country. I'm from Kenya, East Africa. He's from Namibia. But at the end of the day, the man was an African trying to make history. Why wouldn't I root for him? You know what I'm saying? Was I mad he lost? Not one bit. I knew who would win the fight. You know what I'm saying? I ain't delusional. I ain't deluded. You know what I mean? You check it. So, I root for all African fighters because guess what? We don't have that many champions out of the continent of Africa like they are in the United States. USA smashing us as far as world titles is concerned. And I think boxing is in a good place in the United States as long as the fights get made. You know what I mean? You check it. But at the end of the day, it's boxing and you should root for who you want to. And I don't blame anybody rooting for somebody or their complexion, their race, or where they from. It is what it is, man. It's just like soccer. It's boxing's a worldwide sport. That's why it's my favorite sport. You know what I mean? It's a worldwide sport, man. You know? All right. Hop says, not supporting my country of America. No question. One of them ones says, I think that question was more relevant pre-1970s. In this age, I don't feel it applies. However, race is still very relevant in boxing today, just in other ways. Yeah, man, race drives the sport, to be honest. You know what I mean? Look at the Filipinos who come out there to support Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? They come out to support Manny Pacquiao, win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? Um, Op says supporting USA is a reason for me sometimes. I remember, a fight between Paulie Spatafora and the guy from, was he Romanian? What's that dude name, man? Arturo Gatti beat the shit out of him, man. The fuck is his name? Damn, I forgot the name, man. It was a unification, WBA, the IBF. No, I was rooting for the European dude. I forgot his name. Damn, what the fuck is his name? Somebody remembers in the chat, please remind me, man. Paulie Spatafora versus that dude, and Arturo Gatti beat that dude, and that dude has only one loss. My bad, I just remembered his name, Leonard Doreen. Leonard Doreen was from Romania, but I like the guy. I live here in USA, but I was rooting for the Romanian. It's just what it is, you know what I mean? You know, if I like a fighter, matter of fact, don't matter which country you're from, you know what I'm saying? I like Adonis Stevenson and Riggin, Cuban and Canadian, Haitian Canadian fighters, and I root for them over anybody they fight. You know what I'm saying? So actually, to me, it's like I said, it doesn't matter about race. It's about who I like, and that's who I root for. Okay, where was I at? Hop says supporting USA is a reason for me sometimes. Charles Jackson's blessings. What going, Charles Jackson? Thanks for coming through. Hop says one of them one medias. Thanks for your response. Yeah. Um, one of them ones asked Hop, you mean nationality as in countryman? And Hop says to one of them ones, yes, I don't see a problem in rooting for your countryman unless he is a bad dude, which some are. Um, One of them, one media says, I support more U.S. fighters in UK mainly because there are more U.S. fighters to support. I definitely support and root for black fighters over anyone and anything else. Hop says to one of Demons media, but why? One of them, one media says this. That's not to say I don't like either fighter because I do, but when it comes down to the wire, I always root for blacks just like Mexicans do and every cultural race does. Hop says to to one of them ones, I don't. Guess I'm in the minority. I truly do not. One of them ones says the Mexicans I've come into contact with are all supporting Mikey against Spence, which is cool. Never heard a Mexican saying they're rooting for Spence yet. Yeah, and they all say that Spence is going. I'm sorry, Mikey's going to beat up Spence. Wishful thinking. Hey, but they convinced. You know what I mean? They convinced. Hop says, I think all of my favorite fighters of all time are black because I love them in the ring. My number one, as everyone knows, Thomas Hearns. Yeah, Thomas Hearns was a bad man. He's definitely in my top three of all time favorites. The first fight I ever seen in my life was Tommy Hearns versus Marvin Hagler, and I was a kid, and I was rooting for the tall guy with the yellow trunks with the jerry curl. I didn't like the bald headed dude. I thought he was mean and didn't have no personality. I was a kid. I ain't even know what the word personality meant. You know what I'm saying? But ever since that fight, I watched all their fights ever since. You know what I mean? And when Sugar Ray Leonard, I even have till this day on VHS tape. I have both the Duran fights. My pops had taped them. You know what I mean? Duran versus Ray Leonard. Still got the No Mas and the first fight in Montreal on VHS. And when guys like Hagler was fighting um, Ray Leonard, I remember I was rooting for Hagler. I was rooting for him so hard. You know what I mean? Because that was a guy that I wasn't quite a fan of Ray Leonard. You know what I mean? I liked Duran though when I was a kid, no doubt about it. Okay, Retro Boxer says, that's right. Hop says, I guess Pacquiao and Eric Morales are also fighters I've loved. Yeah, I love both of them fighters too. You know what I'm saying? Um, One of them once says, he's a passive racist. Satter says, it always about race and white supremacy. That's what Satter says. Hop says, I'm white, but I'm not even sure who my favorite white boxer has been. Dempsey, Marciano, Pep, Grab, don't know. No one recently. I don't hate on the Klitschko's as some do, but never favorites of mine. My favorite white fighters I could recall in the last, I say, 20 years, I've like guys like Kostya Tszyu. Kostya Tszyu was my favorite white fighter for a long time. You know what I mean? Strong amateur pedigree, had a great career as a pro. I like Costa Zoo. That's probably the one white fighter that comes to my mind as a guy that I was rooting for him. Win, lose, or draw. I ain't give a fuck. I was always a Costa Zoo fan. Um, that's of recent year. After that, I don't quite know if I've had a white fighter that I've really. Mm, you see, Hop, when you asking one of them ones, but why? I mean, I'm sure if you know boxing history, you should see that all the kind of transgressions and, just the impartiality that black fighters have gone through. You know what I mean? Till this day, a black fighter fights like Lomachenko, they consider boring. When a white fighter fights like Lomachenko, or when Lomachenko fights the way he does, it's exciting. I've never seen anything like this. Oh my gosh, look at the footwork, look at the angles. It's just what it is, man. It's unfair, but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You check it. Hop says, "Do you happen to remember your scoreboard on your first fight with Durant? Do you feel Durant edged it? Very close, I thought. You mean Durant versus Ray Leonard? Durant versus Ray Leonard. I don't quite remember my scorecard, but I'm sure I probably have it. Probably 8 rounds to four, 7 rounds to five. You know what I mean? Close fight, but Durant clearly won that fight. Them fellas in one, I think round four, man, he rocked Ray Leonard with a straight right, man. Put him damn near on the ropes. Not damn near, he flung back on the ropes. That was clearly a Durant victory, if that's the fight you're talking about, Hop. You check it? Yes, indeed. But yeah, man, B Marsh Boxing about to seal the deal on this live stream, man. I appreciate all y'all coming through. Talked a lot of old school boxing, man. And if you know me, man, that's what the fuck I like. Hop says, did Mayweather and De La Hoya avoid Costa Zoo? Actually, I think De La Hoya avoided him, but also De La Hoya got lucky. There was a card, I can't remember which card, but they both fought on the same card. They were trying to build each other up, you know what I mean? Try to build each other up for a fight. But the man Costa Zoo, he had lost in the process. He got knocked out by Cool Vince Phillips, you know what I mean? So that fight was out the window. You check it. Now, as far as Floyd Mayweather and Costa Zoo, that fight didn't happen for because this guy Costa Zoo was injured for a long period of time. When that man Floyd Mayweather was moving up in the ranks to 140, Costa Zoo was on the shelf. There was a period in time he was out the game for like 2 years. You know what I mean? Still holding on to that them belts he had. You check it. I believe at that time uh Costa Zoo probably had only one belt. You know what I'm saying? Then he came back from out of from the injury, and he came and unified versus um was Shambe Mitchell. Shout out Shambe Mitchell, Tacoma Park, Maryland, DC area. That's my guy. Tacoma Park, DC. Tacoma, they all border each other, you know what I mean? Shambe Mitchell used to be in a go-go band. So he unified against him, and nah, he actually had the WBC. WBC, he beat Miguel Angel Gonzalez. You know what I mean? That was the guy they was talking about was going to be the next Julio Cesar Chavez. You know what I mean? Costa Zoo beat him. Then he unified versus Shambe Mitchell. And at that time, now Floyd was moving out the division. You know what I mean? He was at 147 by the time, what's his name? By the time Costa Zoo had even unified to become undisputed versus Zab Judah, you know what I mean? So they were both on the pound for pound list, Hop, and actually Kostya Tszyu was even ranked higher than Floyd. Floyd had called him out, you know what I'm saying? Kostya Tszyu never mentioned him. And in my opinion, I think I think it'd be a tough fight for both fighters. And the only way I could see Kostya Tszyu beating Floyd is if he roughed him up, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about fighting him dirty, like the way he did Shambe Mitchell in the second fight. You know what I'm saying? And but I ultimately think Floyd would have beat him. You know what I mean? On points. You know what I mean? Close fight probably would have been Floyd's toughest fight of his career up until that point. Something like Castillo, Jose Luis Castillo, the first fight. You know what I mean? But I definitely know for a fact that guys like Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya, they ain't want to fight the man Kostya Tszyu. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I appreciate all y'all coming through. Hop says great video and chat. Blessings. Same to you, Hop. Thanks for coming through. Satter, one of them ones. Retro Blood Boxing. Thanks for coming through. P Money, shout out to you, big man. Big ups to everybody who came through, man. I hope I ain't leave nobody out. I think that's everybody, to be honest. Dan the man, shout out to you. Big ups to everybody who came through. I appreciate all y'all. And I'll probably do some old school videos. Hopefully I'm gonna do them today, man. I'm gonna do them today, man. I've been busy lately, you know what I'm saying? Been mad busy, man. Taking care of some last minute things, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. B Marsh Boxing, thanks for everybody.